In this video, we'll be checking out the sizes of all the dinosaurs in the Jurassic franchise. This includes Jurassic Park, Jurassic World, and everything in between. But this isn't some boring old size chart. We'll be exploring an interactive Roblox game with tons of epic models. Alright, so here we are in the game, and as you can see, here is the Jurassic Park gate, and all the dinosaurs should be beyond the gate right there. You can also see they have all the Camp Cretaceous dinosaurs, which we might check out later, or if it takes too long, we'll do this in a different video. They even have Jurassic World the game. I think this is just like the battle stage. Let's just check this out real quick since it doesn't look like there's a lot here. So these are some of the Jurassic World the game hybrids. At least this one is. I think this is the Alenka. This is just the level 40 trike. So these things are actually pretty big. Yeah, definitely bigger than their real life counterparts. Before we get into the video, we can see here is the size comparison. My avatar is quite a bit bigger than the human they're using to scale, so just keep that in mind throughout the video. Alright, so let's spawn a car here, and let's get going. So here we are at Jurassic Park, I believe, and this is from like the OG movie in 1993. This is the Dilophosaurus that killed the guy that tried to steal the dino embryos, and this thing is actually a lot smaller than I thought it would be. Given my avatar is bigger than like the average person is, still pretty interesting. And here we have the baby velociraptor. I don't remember seeing this guy in the movie though. This is the big velociraptor. So yeah, this thing is pretty big. It's almost the same height as me. And yep, here are the different velociraptors. We got Kim, Randy, and this is the Gallimimus from 1993. Let's actually grab our car so we don't have to walk the entire way through, because there are a lot of dinosaurs down the line. So here, the raptors are all pretty much the same sized. And yeah, here we have the Triceratops Frida from 1993. I don't think this trike is too much bigger than it is in real life. You can see they got like reference images in the background to make sure it's to scale. This is about the size of the people in Jurassic Park. So yeah, the raptors are massive. They're like taller than the people. If we count these people as like 6 feet tall, the raptor's probably going to be like 6'6" or 6'7", maybe even more. And some of these dinosaurs I actually don't recognize. I remember they had Parasaurolophus in the first movie, maybe for like a scene or two, but I do not remember it being this colorful. Okay, next up we have Rexy. This is what Rexy looked like back in 1993. I come up to about her knee level, so this isn't too big of a surprise. Here is the Brachiosaurus from 1993. I think the Brachiosaur might be a little bigger than in real life, or maybe not. Moving on to the Lost World, as you can see here, there were a lot of dinos in this movie. Here we have the Compsognathus, and as expected, this thing is pretty small. Here's the male Velociraptor. I think these are like the tiger striped Velociraptors, a bit different from the original Jurassic Park raptors. The female Velociraptor right here, about the same size. And the Pachycephalosaurus. I remember the Pachycephalosaurus being a bit bigger than this. That could be because my avatar is just taller. I have to say though, these models do look really good. I wonder if the creator of the game modeled each of these models, because that would have taken forever. Like the different skins for each of the models too. Or did they just take these from like Jurassic World Evolution or something like that? I don't know. Comment down below if you know though. Here is the Geosternbergia. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. I do not remember seeing any pterosaurs in the Lost World. Could be just me though, because it's been a while since I've seen that movie. Gallimimus 1997, not too much of a difference. And yeah, here is the baby Triceratops. Interesting. So this guy is pretty small actually, and here is, this is not an adult, right? I think this is pretty close to how big a Triceratops is in real life, maybe slightly smaller though. I think the other trike was definitely bigger than this one. Okay, so here we have the Parasaurolophus, different design, different skin. Baby Stegosaurus, Claire. When did they come up with the names for these dinos? I don't remember that either. Oh, and here is the Stegosaurus from the Lost World. This thing is massive, way bigger than a real life Stegosaurus. Look at the Stego compared to the trike. I'm pretty sure in real life they're at least like similar in size. The trike is like half the size of the Stego. I'm pretty sure this thing is the Stegosaurus from this scene, which does make sense. I don't know why this thing is so big. It looks bigger than the T-Rex. This is the buck T-Rex from the Lost World, and I think the Stego is bigger than the T-Rex, interestingly enough. And of course we got the baby Rex Jr. This is the one that the humans took, I believe. Yeah, about as big as I expected. And here's Doe. Basically the same size as Buck, maybe slightly maybe slightly smaller, but they look pretty much the same. And here are all the stegosaurs in the Jurassic franchise. So we have the Lost World one here. Wait, hold on. Is the Lost World Stego not the biggest? It looks like this one is the Lost World Stego, which is this thing right here. The Jurassic Park 3 one is even bigger. Okay, the Jurassic World ones are much more accurate in size to real life. And was there a Stegosaurus in Fallen Kingdom? I don't remember, but apparently this is the biggest Stegosaurus they've shown us to date. So yeah, I can't wait to see that down the line. I believe it's in release order. We'll start with Jurassic Park 1 and we'll probably end with Rebirth. Here is the Mosasaurus. Okay, so this thing is actually not that big. It looks kind of thin, actually. I don't remember when they showed the Mosasaurus. Alright, here I think we're finally getting to the Jurassic Park 3 era of dinos. Here we have the Compsognathus, pretty much the same size. And then we have the male Velociraptor variants. Oh yeah, I remember the Jurassic Park 3 Velociraptors. They look a little different because they got like the quills on the back of their neck. And they're all about the same size too. Quillium, male Velociraptor Quillium, okay. I guess this guy is just named Quillium and these are just like random variants. And here's the alpha male Quilcub. I'm pretty sure these are just the raptors that like harass the humans in that movie. Then we have the female Velociraptor. I don't remember seeing a white Velociraptor though. And I don't remember there being 6 different Velociraptors in that movie. I think there was like 3 or 4 maybe. Here's the baby Pteranodon. Oh yeah, I remember these guys at the nest that they dropped the people to. Male Pteranodon right here. Alpha male Pteranodon. These look pretty much the same. Maybe the alpha one is slightly bigger. Female Pteranodon. And here we have Ankylosaurus from Jurassic Park 3. Here's the Ceratosaurus. Yeah, I'd say this is about as big as I imagined it. Probably a little bigger because you have to remember the average person is a bit smaller than my avatar. It's closer in size to this thing right here than what I am. And here's another Parasaurolophus. It seems like so far in every Jurassic Park movie they've had a Parasaurolophus in the movie. They even have the Corythosaurus. This size chart is really making me realize how many dinos are in each of these movies. I do not remember seeing a Corythosaurus in Jurassic Park 3. Here we have the Triceratops. Yeah, this one's definitely much bigger than the other one. And here is the Stegosaurus. Yeah, this guy is still pretty big. I don't think it's quite as big as the one from The Lost World though. Oh yeah, and here is the bull T-Rex named Freddy, apparently. This is the one that the Spinosaurus right here kills in the movie. And I'm not gonna lie, this looks a lot smaller than I thought it would be. It looks like it's like slightly bigger than the Ceratosaurus. I come up to like its stomach area. Like it looks like bull is less than twice the height of my character if I stand right below its head. Yeah, I mean, people do say that the bull T-Rex wasn't fully grown. And here we have the Spinosaurus. Codename Asset 87. Yeah, the Spino is a lot bigger than the Rex, I feel like, even in height. Like, its head is close to double my height here. Well, the Rex, I can almost reach the tip of its tail. And if we go to the Spino, it's not even close. Yeah, not even close. In the fight scene, they seem to be almost level, but I could see that I was wrong now because the Spino looks way bigger. I don't know, what do you think? Is this accurate? Because I feel like the Rex and the Spino were almost the same size in that fight. Alright, here we have the Brachiosaurus. So we have the male and the female variants of the Brachiosaurus from Jurassic Park 3. Yeah, these things are just really, really big. The neck's gotta be like, what, like 30, 40 feet off the ground? Maybe even more than that. Alright, we are finally moving on to Jurassic World. These are going to be the ones from the 2015 movie. And starting off small with the Dimorphodon. I do remember seeing these guys from the movie. And here is Velociraptor Blue. Blue is actually a lot smaller than I thought. I think there was one shot of Blue standing next to Owen. And they were like almost level. I think Owen was like a bit taller than Blue. But I guess I'm like a foot taller than the average person. But I think these raptors, the Jurassic World raptors, are smaller than the Jurassic Park version. I'm gonna put like footage of me standing next to the raptors so you can decide for yourself. I'm pretty sure these guys are a lot smaller though. And here we have Delta, Echo, and Charlie. These guys are all pretty much the same size. And here is the Pachycephalosaurus. Also smaller. I think the other one was definitely bigger than this one. Okay, we got the Pteranodon, which seems a little small too, comparatively at least. Remember, this is the Pteranodon that carried the babysitter in its mouth. Could this thing really carry a human? Even if like the average human would have to be like half my height for this guy to carry it. I don't know, I feel like the Jurassic World dinos seem a little small. Gallimimus, on the other hand, seems pretty big. This looks like about the same size as the other Gallimimus we've seen in the past. The Ankylosaur, this is the one that the Indominus Rex fights. Yep, this seems about right. And there's the baby Parasaurolophus, the normal Parasaurolophus. Wow, Parasaurolophus has been in every single movie so far. It's been in all 3 Jurassic Park movies. We're in Jurassic World, and there's still a Parasaurolophus. Here's the baby Triceratops. Yeah, that seems about right. And the adult Triceratops, which seems actually a bit bigger than some of the other versions. And then here we got the baby Stegosaurus, which is actually pretty big for some reason. The baby Stegosaurus looks like twice the size of the baby Trike for some reason. I don't know. Is there a reason for that, or is that just like the way they were shown in the movies? The baby Stego is probably taller than the average person, and the adult Stego is not massive. Like, it's probably close to how big Stegosaurus was in real life. Like, this is nowhere near the size of the Lost World Stego, so it's weird how the baby Stego is bigger. Okay, so here we have Rexy. This is the Jurassic World version with the scars and everything. About the same size, maybe a little different color. And here we have the Indominus Rex, and I did not know people called it Darcy. That's the nickname for the Indom. I'd say this is pretty accurate to size. Doesn't look a lot bigger than Rexy. From this angle, it almost looks like Rexy is bigger than the Indominus Rex. I don't know, there were some people saying that the Indominus Rex was not fully grown or whatever. But yeah, the Indominus Rex, here's how big it is. Here is the Jurassic World Apatosaurus. Yeah, this seems about right, actually. I remember that one scene where the people got close to the Apatosaurus. And here is something I was really curious about, the Mosasaurus from Jurassic World, called Mosey. So the Mosasaurus, I've heard like change its size like every time we see it on screen. So this is the size that was in Jurassic World, which is actually kind of small. Like, obviously this is way bigger than Mosasaurus is in real life. I expected it to be a little bigger. I take that back. I think that would scale if the average person is really about this tall. The Mosasaurus is still pretty big, but I think they scale it up in later movies. Okay, I think this is entering into the Fallen Kingdom territory of dinosaurs. Compy is always small. If anything, this compy looks smaller than the other ones, actually. And here we have the Stygimoloch. I think this is pretty accurate in size if the average person is about this tall. Makes sense. Okay, so they even included Baby Blue from the flashback. That's really nice attention to detail. And they got the other baby raptors too. They got Baby Delta, Baby Echo, Baby Charlie. Here we have Velociraptor Blue. I don't think size changed at all, just maybe the skin changed. And here we have the Pteranodon, pretty much the same. Juvenile Allosaurus from 2018. I remember seeing Allosaurus, but I did not know it was juvenile. Does look pretty small here though. Gallimimus is almost in every movie too, I'm pretty sure. Oh, here is the Indoraptor. Okay, so Indoraptor is only slightly bigger than the Gallimimus actually. It's scaled to blue. I think that's pretty accurate. If that's blue and this is the Indoraptor, smaller than the Baryonyx for sure. This is the Baryonyx, I'm pretty sure, from that tunnel scene, nicknamed Chaos. Indoraptor, nicknamed Ripper. And here's the Triceratops, not much changed. And the Ankylosaurus, also not much changed. Oh, and here's the Carnotaurus. It's actually kind of big. I'm pretty sure the Jurassic World version is bigger than the Carnotaurus in real life. And there's 2 Carnotaurus from Fallen Kingdom, really. This one's called Demon. Was there really 2 Carnotaurus in that movie? I remember there was one Carnotaurus that gets slammed by Rexy. I think that would be this one, the generic Carnotaurus. And then there was like one at the end that like rips the bad guy in half. Was it this one? Was it Demon? There was also the Carnotaurus from Camp Cretaceous, the one that got like burnt. I don't know if that's Demon or if that's like a different Carnotaurus. And of course, the Parasaurolophus is in this movie again. Yeah, pretty much the same. I think like the crest is a little different and the color scheme. Other than that, pretty much the same. Sinoceratops, this is one I haven't seen in the previous movies. But yeah, the Sinoceratops is actually bigger than I thought. I always thought Sino was smaller than Triceratops, but this looks pretty much the same size, maybe slightly smaller. And here's the Fallen Kingdom Stegosaurus. This guy might be the smallest Stegosaurus I've seen so far. If you zoom in closely on the head, you'll notice that it doesn't have a beak like some of the other stegos do. I'm not sure why they made this change. And here we have Rexy from Fallen Kingdom. Am I tripping, or does Rexy just look small? Rexy looks almost the same size as the Stegosaurus. Maybe the Stegosaurus from Fallen Kingdom was just really big. They got like a different texture going on. Even though it's the same character, you can see the creator has added different texture patterns, which is a really nice touch. And in the background, we have the Mosasaurus estimates. Oh my, look at the size of the big one. So this is the one from Jurassic World. This is the one that we saw earlier. This is the small one. And then this is the Jurassic World feeding show scene. So in the feeding show scene, this guy grew to like quadruple the size just in that one scene. Oh wait, actually no, this is not accurate because this is like what they say on the website. I can't read what that says. It looks like it says like 28 meters maybe? No, apparently this is like 42 meters or something. This big mosasaur from the feeding show. This makes a lot more sense to me. That's the shark they fed it. And here I think is how big it was attacking the Indominus Rex. It shrunk back down, bigger than the official size, but smaller than the feeding show scene. Oh wait, no, I was wrong. This is the size it was when attacking Indom. This is the Main Street attack scene. I think this is the scene where it like bites into the Pteranodon, and then this is the size when it fights Indom. I think this is like the Dino Protection Group size. Yeah, it looks like this thing varies heavily in size. If we look at like the kaiju sized one here, this is Fallen Kingdom. Yeah, I can't read what that says, but the big one is from Fallen Kingdom, which we see right there. Here's the Camp Cretaceous size, and then Battle at Big Rock. But that's enough of the Mosa. Let's take a look at the Apatosaurus. Yeah, I think this is about the same size as it was, maybe a little smaller even than the Jurassic World version. And here is the Brachiosaurus called Betty. I think this is the one you see calling out for help when the volcano explodes. Yeah, Betty definitely looks smaller than some of the previous Brax, especially compared to like the OG Jurassic Park ones. And here's a better look at how big the Mosasaurus is in Fallen Kingdom. This is like Godzilla sized, I'm pretty sure. If we take like the original 50 meter tall 1954 Godzilla, I think this is close to the size of that. Absolutely massive. This might be like the biggest thing we'll ever see in the Jurassic franchise. Look at this. I'm assuming this is like from that one scene where it like comes out of the waves or something. Okay, so it looks like they have Battle at Big Rock as well. This doesn't look so bad, so we'll check it out quickly. Compsognathus, Pteranodon, the baby Nasutoceratops, female Nasutoceratops, male Nasutoceratops. Wait, hold on. These look a little small, but I think that's just because my character's big. Here is the Allo, which I remember this thing being massive. Like the head was like the size of a person. I guess it would be if the average person is like about this tall. I guess the size chart makes a lot more sense because look how much bigger I am than the person morph that they're using here. Here's the Parasaurolophus. I like the color scheme of this Parasaurolophus. Stegosaurus is a lot smaller here. I think this is just like the Fallen Kingdom version. Maybe the Mosa was present at the intro or something, but this is how big it looks like in Big Rock. Okay, so now we're on to Dominion. Here is the Microceratus variants. These things are pretty small. The Compy looks like it got even smaller. This thing is like the size of my foot at this point. Listersaurus, called Leonard. Dimorphodon, and then Oviraptor. Oh, this is the poor thing that got its head bitten off, I think. Dimetrodon. Probably should have picked a character that was closer in height to like the average person because I look bigger than this Dimetrodon here. And here is the Styglomock, the Dilophosaurus. Here is the Pyroraptor. That's interesting. Pyroraptor looks pretty much the same size as maybe Blue. Maybe a little bigger, maybe a little smaller. Baby Velociraptor Beta. And here is Blue in Dominion. Atrociraptor Ghost. How many Atrociraptors were in this movie? Red, okay. And here we have the Pteranodon, which looks to be about the same size in every movie. Aside from like Jurassic Park 3, I think. Juvenile Baryonyx with prosthetic arm? Oh wow, they even got like the eye detail there. It's either everything else is smaller or Gallimimus is bigger, but I think, yeah, Gallimimus is actually pretty big. You have the Nasutoceratops baby, Nasutoceratops female, Nasutoceratops male, Kylosaurus, about the same size as always, Sinoceratops, which is actually bigger than the Triceratops, it looks like. I think these are about like the same models. Here's the Iguanodon, which looks about as big as I thought it would be. Juvenile Carnotaurus. And here we have the Demon Carnotaurus. I don't think this guy's size really changed. Here is the Allosaurus. This one actually looks about the same size as the one from Big Rock. And then here is the Parasaurolophus. Parasaurolophus keeping that streak alive. It's been in every single Jurassic movie. Here is the Stegosaurus. I think this is the same size and skin as the previous movies. And here is the Prologue T-Rex, Rexy from her past life. I think this is the Rex that gets killed by the Giga. You can see it's got like the feathers and everything. And here is Rexy in Dominion, about the same size as the Prologue Rex. And here's Buck, which I didn't even know was in Dominion. Was Buck in Dominion? And here is Doe. And here is the Giganotosaurus. Okay, so the Giga actually looks about the same size as the other Tyrannosaurs. Maybe slightly bigger. I thought Zed would be a lot bigger than the other Tyrannosauruses, but I guess not. And this Therizinosaurus, I'm pretty sure is just really big. Because I don't think there's any shot that real life Therizinosaurus was taller than a Giganotosaurus. No way, right? Here's the Quetzalcoatlus, which is absolutely massive. This thing was like the size of a plane. Here is the Apatosaurus, which actually looks a bit bigger. I could just be remembering wrong though. And the Brack looks like it's a bit bigger than the one from Fallen Kingdom. And of course we have the Dreadnoughtus, which looks like this. Yeah, the Dreadnoughtus is actually a lot bigger than the Brachiosaurus. And is that the Mosasaurus at the end right here? Mosasaurus has shrunken down to its Jurassic World size, it looks like. And finally, here we are at Dominion. I have not seen the movie yet, so I have no idea if these sizes are accurate. Aqualops Dolores, which is literally like the size of my foot. I guess Dolores is really just that small. Here we have the Honorognathus, which is also really small. It looks like it's like a sparrow. Is this even like a pterosaur? I can't tell what I'm looking at here. Looks like a moth almost. Here is the Compsognathus, which is just getting smaller and smaller. I swear, every time they bring back the Compsognathus, it gets smaller. I think at one point it was like up to my knees. Now it's like barely past my ankle. Here we have the Dilophosaurus, Velociraptor. This one looks like it's the Velociraptor from Jurassic Park 3, and the Dilophosaurus has like a different skin. Diabloceratops is added, apparently. And oh wait, here is the Mutodon. And the Mutodon's actually bigger than I thought. I thought it was going to be like raptor-sized, which I guess it is like only slightly bigger than a raptor. And here we have the new Spinosaurus from Rebirth. I feel like these guys are a lot smaller than the Jurassic Park 3 Spinosaurus, at least in height. They already got nicknames, it looks like. We got Rune, which is about this size. And then we have Hunter, which is this size. We got Striper. I only remember seeing like 3 Spinosaurus in the trailer. I guess there's another one. Unnamed 4th Spinosaurus. Did they ever officially name these, or are these just nicknames, I wonder? But this one looks almost identical to Striper. I think it looks a little smaller, actually. But this one looks almost identical to Striper. And here we have the Carnotaurus, not the demon one, just like a generic Carnotaurus. The Carnotaurus is like bigger than a Spinosaurus, huh? That's interesting. And here we have the Tyrannosaurus Rex. So this is not Rexy, this is like a new T-Rex, which might be bigger than Rexy, I think. I don't know. Maybe, did they buff the Carnotaurus size? Because at least in Fallen Kingdom, it looks like Rexy was a lot bigger than the Carno. They look like almost the same size here. And here we have the Rebirth Quetzalcoatlus. Actually looks pretty big too. I think this is about the same size as the Dominion one. And of course, here we have the D-Rex, or the Distortus Rex, which is gigantic. I didn't think this guy was going to be this big. This thing probably dwarfs every theropod we've seen in the franchise so far. Definitely bigger than Indom. Indom was like the size of this Rex maybe. Bigger than Spino, bigger than Giga. Yeah, look at this thing. This thing is huge. And of course we have, I think this might be the biggest land dinosaur we've seen in the Jurassic franchise, even bigger than the Distortus, which, yeah, looking back at that one scene, it makes sense that this thing is this tall. I think the only thing that gives it competition is probably like the OG Jurassic Park Brachiosaurs. And finally, at the end of the list, we have the Mosasaurus from Rebirth, which is like a completely different model with a completely different color scheme. Definitely bigger than real life Mosasaurus. Maybe slightly smaller than the Jurassic World Mosasaurus size. Not even close to the Fallen Kingdom one though. And yeah, that's about it for every single dinosaur in the Jurassic franchise. This must have taken forever to put together, especially with all the size chart references and all the modeling. And if we had some more time, I'd like to check out the Camp Cretaceous dinos, but this video has already been going on for too long, so I think we'll end it here. If you'd like to see the Camp Cretaceous dinos, comment down below and maybe we'll do it in a separate video. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'll put the link to this game down in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next one.